Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner was not only a promising boxer but was also presented as the natural successor to Floyd Mayweather Jr. From his rise in the early 2000s and 10s, he had everything the public and media loved in an emerging star: boundless confidence, a low guard reminiscent of Mayweather, impressive speed, and power that overwhelmed his opponents. Promoters saw in him the new dominant figure of American boxing, and above all, an athlete capable of combining raw talent with charisma. The truth is that his early professional career confirmed all expectations because Broner racked up victories and collected titles across multiple weight classes: world champion at super featherweight, then lightweight, and later super lightweight. He appeared as an invincible prodigy. In 2013, when he moved up to welterweight to face Paulie Malignaggi, he captured the WBA title with an arrogant and spectacular performance accompanied by provocative statements that left a mark. For many, this was the moment Broner would cross the threshold separating good champions from global superstars. But unlike Mayweather, who thrived on discipline despite his media excesses, Broner let fame carry him away. He spent nights in clubs and encountered legal troubles which, combined with a lack of training discipline, quickly eroded his potential. In December 2013, facing Marcos Maidana, he was demolished over 12 rounds and sent to the canvas twice in the same fight. His invincibility was gone, and the path toward decline began, marked by losses to opponents still within his reach, such as Shawn Porter, Mikey Garcia, and Manny Pacquiao. He continued to speak like a future great, but his in-ring performances no longer followed. Every announced comeback ended in disappointment for both fans and his team. Nicknamed The Problem, he continued to encounter legal issues and found his moments of fame mostly through controversial media appearances. Even recently, when he attempted to take control of his career, Broner was arrested for trespassing. Ultimately, he never secured a place among boxing's elite. Victor Ortiz. Victor Ortiz is one of the most striking cases in modern boxing, the story of a young man whose personal history and charisma seemed to predestine him for dominance. Born in Kansas into a broken family and marked by parental abandonment, Ortiz grew up with a survival instinct and energy that left no one indifferent. He was presented as a boxer capable of inspiring crowds while winning major fights, thanks to his explosive style contrasting with his highly endearing personality. Early in his professional career, Ortiz embodied the new generation after the reigns of Mayweather and Pacquiao with his aggressive style and punching power. His constant smile, even after the hardest blows, reinforced the idea that he was not just a fighter, but a complete marketing product. HBO and Golden Boy Promotions heavily invested in him, giving him exposure befitting one of the sport's biggest prospects. Yet behind this image of a model athlete lay a mental fragility that would be revealed spectacularly. In June 2009, Ortiz faced Marcos Maidana in a fight meant to cement his rise. That night, after a violent duel in which he had sent Maidana to the canvas, Ortiz chose to quit, telling the referee he did not want to continue. This decision was seen as an admission of a lack of heart and champion's mentality, creating an indelible stain on his reputation for the rest of his career. Ortiz tried to rebuild and experienced a moment of glory in 2011 when he surprised the world by defeating Andre Berto in a spectacular fight. He won the WBC welterweight title and regained credibility. But this redemption was short-lived as a few months later he faced Floyd Mayweather in a bout remembered not for its quality but for its ending. After deliberately headbutting Mayweather and repeatedly attempting to apologize, Ortiz dropped his guard and was brutally knocked out by 2 quick punches. This humiliating KO reinforced the image of a naive boxer unable to handle pressure on the big stage. The rest of his career confirmed this downward spiral. Repeated losses, including a jaw-breaking defeat against Josesito Lopez, combined with retirements, injuries, and resounding failures, kept him more in the celebrity news than in boxing headlines. Audley Harrison. With an impressive reach of 2.18 meters, Audley Harrison had a unique physical advantage in the heavyweight division. Amateur champion of England in 1997 and 1998, he rose to the pinnacle by winning Olympic gold in Sydney 2000, defeating Kazakh Mukhtarkhan Dildabekov in the final. Harrison became the first Briton to claim the super heavyweight Olympic title, a feat that instantly made him the nation's hope. In 2001, he turned professional with rare media attention and a lucrative BBC contract, believing in his star potential. His early career seemed to confirm the hype. Harrison won his first 19 fights, showing power and control. But in December 2005, he lost on points to fellow Briton Danny Williams in a Commonwealth title fight. Although he avenged this loss a year later, the seed of doubt was planted. His invincibility was broken and mental gaps began to appear. In February 2007, another setback occurred. He was knocked out by European champion Michael Sprott. Despite this, Harrison continued fighting and, in an ironic turn, defeated Sprott in 2010 to claim the EBU title. This success earned him a World Championship fight against David Haye on the 13th of November 2010 in Manchester. The event was presented as the fulfillment of his destiny, but that night Harrison delivered a catastrophic performance, barely throwing punches before being stopped in the third round. Critics called it one of the worst world title fights in history, and the image of a rising champion was destroyed. After a 2011 absence and appearances on shows like Strictly Come Dancing, Harrison attempted another comeback. In October 2012, he was stopped by David Price in one round, and in 2013, Deontay Wilder knocked him out in just 70 seconds, confirming he no longer belonged among the world elite. In 2014, after appearing on Celebrity Big Brother, he officially retired with a professional record of 31 wins and 7 losses, noting multiple health issues including head traumas, requiring interventions to recover. In retrospect, oddly, Harrison perfectly symbolizes the gap between immense amateur talent and a middling professional career. His Olympic victories and 2.18-meter reach should have secured him a place among the greats, but his lack of competitiveness, humiliating defeats, and failed comebacks made him one of British boxing's biggest wasted potentials. In announcing his retirement, he expressed both disappointment at not becoming a world champion and pride in his accomplishments. Jeff Lacey. In the early 2000s, Jeff Lacey was presented as the future great hope of American boxing. From the Sydney 2000 Olympic team, where he stood out for physical power and determination, he was considered one of the most promising boxers of his generation. Turning professional in 2001, he immediately impressed with spectacular victories, most by knockout. With his sculpted physique and explosive style, he was compared to Mike Tyson, but in the super middleweight division. Lacey quickly climbed the ranks. In 2004, he became IBF super middleweight world champion after defeating Sid Vanderpool in the 8th round. This victory confirmed his rising star status, and American media presented him as the next big attraction of the sport. In just a few months, he successfully defended his title multiple times, building an aura of invincibility. Many fans already saw him as the natural successor to Roy Jones Jr. in the middleweight divisions. But behind this rapid rise lay a fundamental weakness. Lacey was not a refined technician. He relied on power and endurance when facing average opponents, and his strategy worked perfectly. In March 2006, he faced Joe Calzaghe in Manchester, a more technical and mobile opponent. The fight, billed as a clash of two unbeaten fighters, was meant to establish Lacey as a global superstar. Instead, it turned into a nightmare. Calzaghe, a master of the ring and exceptional stylist, delivered a complete boxing lesson. Over 12 rounds, he dominated Lacey, hitting him at will and humiliating him in front of millions of viewers. Lacey was sent to the canvas with a battered face, enduring punishment rarely seen at that level. That night, his career turned. He lost more than a fight. His aura and confidence disappeared, as did his promoter's faith. After the fight, he underwent treatments for injuries and did not fight for a year. After this humiliation, Lacey tried to return but was never the same. His performances became hesitant, punches less explosive, and his mental strength weakened. He managed a few wins, but only against lesser opponents. Each time he faced serious fighters like Jermaine Taylor or Roy Jones Jr. late in his career, he was clearly defeated. The initial promise of an invincible monster gradually dissolved, and he became a footnote in the division's history. David Price. In the early 2010s, David Price's name was on the lips of every British boxing fan. standing at an immense 2.03 meters with a devastating backhand and an impressive amateur career crowned by an Olympic bronze medal in Beijing 2008. He was seen as the next giant who could bring the United Kingdom back to the top of the heavyweight division. His size combined with his power made him intimidating, and his early professional bouts seemed to confirm every expectation. With a string of quick victories and spectacular knockouts, Price rapidly became the rising figure in a division searching for a new king after the Klitschko brothers' years of dominance. His ascent reached a peak when he demolished Audley Harrison in 2012 in less than a minute. This performance made him the bookmakers' favorite for a future world championship. Many already saw him as the man who could restore a dominant heavyweight champion to the British public, capable of competing with the very best. Price was more than a local prospect. He was presented as one of Europe's weapons against the Ukrainian supremacy of the Klitschkos. Excitement reached its climax whenever his name came up in discussions of possible megafights, but the illusion collapsed abruptly. In 2013, he faced American veteran Tony Thompson, experienced but widely considered beatable for a rising prospect. What was supposed to be a simple test turned into a nightmare. Price was caught off guard, troubled, and ultimately stopped by technical knockout. The giant's invincibility crumbled instantly, along with the aura surrounding his career. He attempted an immediate rematch a few months later, but suffered the same fate again. From that moment, Price never regained his confidence. His mental fragility, often criticized, became a glaring weakness. Although he continued to box and even secured some notable victories, whenever he faced a high-caliber opponent, his chin betrayed him. Knockout losses to Erkan Teper, Christian Hammer, and Alexander Povetkin confirmed his inability to withstand the best. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was literally born to box. The son of Mexican legend Julio Cesar Chavez, he grew up under the immense shadow of a father considered one of the greatest of all time. From the very start of his career, young Chavez's path was scrutinized, analyzed, and debated. Every victory or loss was compared to his father's, and each fight became a test of legitimacy. The public and media presented him as the heir to a boxing empire destined to carry the Chavez name high on the global stage. Chavez Jr. never lacked talent. With a size impressive for the middleweight division and an aggressive style inherited from his father, he possessed all the qualities to become a champion. His natural talent was evident. He could combine power and technique, manage fight pace, and deliver punches in crucial moments. Yet his career was marked by glaring inconsistency and questionable choices. The main problem for Chavez Jr. was discipline. Far from his father's rigorous ethic, he accumulated professional failures, late ring entrances, weight issues, and often insufficient preparation. His most embarrassing defeats, notably against Sergio Martinez and Canelo Alvarez, were not just technical losses but public humiliations, exposing a lack of seriousness and consistency that followed him throughout his career. Despite his name, aura, and promising beginnings, Chavez Jr. never turned his heritage into glory. The contrast with his father is stark. Where Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. built legendary careers through discipline and sacrifice, his son seemed unable to maintain a consistent level despite resources, coaching, and the symbolic weight of his name. Even more striking, he was recently expelled from the United States and arrested in Mexico for involvement with drug traffickers, proving he definitively sank into the abyss after failing as a boxer. Amir Khan. Amir Khan emerged on the world stage with the aura of a future king of British boxing. A silver medalist at the 2004 Olympics at just 17, he was fast, technically brilliant, and capable of producing lightning combinations. Everyone saw in him a future world champion able to dominate the lightweight and super lightweight divisions with a spectacular and modern style. Khan's problem was never talent. His hand speed, footwork, and precision were already worthy of an established champion. He could outsmart opponents with intelligent strategy and strike with frightening regularity. But this precocity was double-edged. Exposed very young to demanding professional fights, he never truly consolidated mental resilience nor strengthened his fragile chin. Knockout losses to Lamont Peterson, Canelo Alvarez, and Danny Garcia quickly revealed a physical and psychological vulnerability that his talent could not compensate for. Preparation mistakes and lack of discipline in training also hindered his trajectory. Khan often prioritized spectacle and media attention over the strict discipline needed to succeed at the highest level. Risky fights sometimes came too early in his career, leading to humiliating defeats that careful management could have avoided. Testing positive for Osterin after his last fight against Kell Brook, he received a 2-year suspension from UKAD, even though he had already retired in May 2022. Despite his lightning speed and spectacular style, Amir Khan will remain in history as the prodigy who never fully realized his potential. Zab Judah. Zab Judah entered the ring with a dazzling reputation as a prodigy. Born in 1977 in New York, he grew up in the Brownsville neighborhood. Early on, he demonstrated extraordinary speed and technique, making each fight highly anticipated for spectacular performances and memorable sequences, and often he delivered exactly that. Moments of genius, rapid-fire combinations, and precise punching capable of turning a fight in an instant. Yet this brilliance was never sustained. Judah suffered from consistency and discipline issues, sometimes outside the ring and sometimes linked directly to his fighting strategies. He could lose focus after a few rounds and suffer unexpected defeats or fail to maintain performance levels against regular, disciplined opponents. Notable fights, like those against Kostya Tszyu or Floyd Mayweather Jr., showed Judah's potential but also revealed his limits. Against Tszyu, he held his ground and created intense moments but ultimately lost on points, lacking the mental and strategic endurance to finish the fight. Against Mayweather, he impressed initially with speed but could not maintain the pace against superior technique and perfect ring control. Over the years, Judah also faced distractions and off-ring tensions that affected his career. Contract disputes, public quarrels, and off-ring incidents frequently diverted attention from his performances, reinforcing the idea that the prodigy never fully committed to building a lasting legacy.